Okay, so I've been curious what Skarner's new personality is going to be, because, like, Ishtal is an isolationist region, right? Like, they're people, like, they want to cut themselves off from the outside world. They sort of perpetuate a fiction that the outside world is a magic apocalyptic wasteland, and there's nothing there. No one should ever possibly want to go beyond the borders of the country. And Skarner is the leader of the Yuntal, which is the ruling class of Ishtal, which means what for his personality exactly? Because he used to be this, like, sad, lonely, last one of his people scorpion person, whose whole deal was like, I miss my kind. Oh, I'm so alone. I'm lonely. Oh, I'm sad and morose. And, like, that sort of used to be his personality. And he didn't have a lot of voice lines. He was an old champion with really, like, scattered lore. So there wasn't that much to him back then, but it was a specific personality. That personality doesn't really work if he's supposed to be, like, the spiritual leader of a whole region or whatever. So what have they done with him now? Well, one way to find out is to listen to the voice lines that Skin Spotlight's recently released and subtitled for us, as is his wont, which is lovely. And we'll take a listen to the Battlecast ones, too. But only 12 minutes and 25 seconds is really... There has been a trend with Riot. There really has. Of, like there was a time when they really, really leaned into giving champions lots and lots, like, lots of voice lines. Really, like up to 30 minutes sometimes. Like, really a lot of voice lines, interactions and shit like that. They seem to have kind of pulled back on that, which... Yeah, I mean, that meshes with their sort of like, oh, we don't believe that, like, we can do storytelling on the Rift in-game anymore thing that they're doing with their One Rune Terra, where they want to move the storytelling out of the game, which, okay, fair enough. Like, I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea in and of itself, but it's a weird thing to degrade that part of a champion, right? Like, that part of a character, when, like, y'all motherfuckers don't have that much to show for all the storytelling you want to do outside of the game yet. So that's like, you're taking away stuff? We're not really seeing you put stuff out to compensate for that. In fact, you canceled Riot Forge. You didn't pursue the Marvel Comics collaboration because your management couldn't make it work. Now the MMO has been pushed back God knows how many years because you're resetting the entire development process of the damn thing. It's like, okay, cool. Like, you don't want to do storytelling on the Rift, but you gotta fucking come up with something else then, please and thank you. But anyway, let's hear what Skarner has to say.
Syra, I will uproot you from this world like a weed.
Okay, that is fully just a Zerg voice, though. Like the Syra, like the little on his. That's very much like sort of Zerg style voice filter, which, like, you know, fair enough. That he is a weird bug creature. Well, he's not a bug creature. He's not an insect. He's an arthropod, but, you know, whatever. And antagonism towards Syra makes sense because she has been put, she's been put in Ishtal, where she now acts as a kind of environmental hazard for that region. Like, she's this magical plant-human hybrid thing that's just growing and trying to consume everything. So that would be a threat to Skarner. It makes sense that he would hate her.
Armadillo? No. The gentle flame. You carry a traitor's fire.
Well, okay, that sort of places his personality immediately. Okay. So Melio is an innocent little happy-go-lucky child. Like, he's essentially a Disney protagonist, who's like, I have this fire, and I'm gonna go and bring honor to my village, and everyone will be happy because I'm gonna do the heroic thing and become part of the... And his story sort of seems to be driving towards he's gonna go to Ishtal's capital. He's gonna find out the Yuntal are, like, a bunch of despotic dictators and assholes. He's going to be disillusioned, and, like, his story would be one of, like, this kid who believes in his family and who cares so much about other people, sort of, like, leading other people to realize that, hey, the Yuntal are bad, actually, and it's like, so I guess Skarner sees that. Like, he's like, I have watched a Disney movie before. That child is going to be a problem. I don't know that I rate Melio's chances against Skarner that well, though, because, like, he has the cute little fire footballs, but Skarner's the size of a mountain.
Nessic's creation. Malphite, you are but a shard of your former glory.
Ooh. Enemies to lovers? So, again, this references Malphite, right? Like, the Malphite has been retconned into Ishtal, where he's a shard of a giant flying magical fortress that a guy named Nazook made, and flew out to fight the Void in Icathia, and just got wrecked. Just got owned, super duper owned, but a shard of his magic flying fortress fell off, embedded itself into the earth, like, started gathering a bunch of rock around it until it was the size of a mountain, gained consciousness, and now Malphite is, like, trying to like, snuff out the Void wherever he can find it. But I guess Skarner doesn't have much respect for that.
You invited your own end, Azir.
Not wrong.
I stand between my people and your appetite, Belveth. Starve.
Yep.
Kiana, daughter of the Yoon, I know what mutiny you plot in the shadows.
Yeah, and that references the fact that Kiana is a member of the Yuntal, like a member of the ruling class of the land, but she's avaricious and very, very ambitious, and has a little bit of an inferiority complex that she's trying to overcompensate for by, well, arguing that Ishtal should open their borders and invade the rest of the world, basically, or at the very least strike back against Piltover, which is doing, like, sort of imperialist, colonialist expansion into Ishtal territory. And Skarner, predictably, is not a fan of that. His conception seems to be very much that of a nativist and an isolationist, that, like, he's the guy who's arguing, like, we close the borders, we close off our walls, we defend ourselves in here, let nothing in, let nothing out, we can sort of hide ourselves in our own shell, and then damn the rest of the world, who gives a shit. That sort of seems to be his conception.
You weave stone, Talia. I command it. Master Sijax, show me the final echo of Icathia's hope.
Well, okay, that's an interesting little confirmation. Not much of a confirmation, but there is a story where Icathia once stood, where there is a character in it called Sijax, who's a warrior who fights in the war against the Void, like 3,000 years ago, however long it was. He's called Sijax, and it was not, I think it wasn't explicitly confirmed that is Jax, except, like, everyone's sort of going, obviously that's Jax, of course that's Jax, who else would it be? But I think this is the first voice line where we've actually had someone call him Sijax, which, okay, fair enough.
I will excise your corruption from this land, Voidborn.
Makes sense.
From Ascended to Darken, this corruption was always your fate.
And again, Ishtal, once upon a time, was a province of the Shuriman Empire. Like, once upon a time, they were subjects or vassals under Azir, who sort of, like, commanded this giant army of Ascended, who eventually got corrupted into Darken after the fall of the Empire. So he would have some personal experience with that. Like, he would have known Nasus and Renekton back in their heyday. He would have known Aatrox when he was still an Ascended.
Ascension is but a desperate grasp for power. I will rip it from you. Child of Ishtal, I will show you my vision of the future.
Is it a good vision? Is it a happy vision? Is it a fun vision? It sounds... definitely doesn't sound sinister, that doesn't sound... Yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds like it's a cheerful... That doesn't sound like a threat at all.
What did I just... Oh, disgusting. I sentence you to 1 million years in the dungeon.
I think that's an Adventure Time reference.
Tremble before me! What was that? I hear only the rumbling of rocks. Someone remove this thing from my sight.
Aw, you don't like Rammus?
Believing yourself my equal was your undoing, Kiana. Talia, in death you've woven your own shroud.
That doesn't really mean anything.
Even the gentlest ember can ignite a wildfire, Melio.
Right, so that's his worry about Melio, is that Melio, being this kind, adorable, innocent little child, is gonna be, like, the thing that ignites desire for freedom or whatever in the Ishtali, and so it's like, yeah, let's just snuff him out before he can become a martyr to a cause. kind of vibe, which makes him evil?
As worthless as your name, Malphite.
Oh, definitely enemies to lovers.
A beautiful blaze from the last light of Icavia. Drown within your lavender sea, Empress. Only false gods bleed, Azir.
Okay, that goes hard.
Shurima sees you for what you truly are, Ascended. Embrace the fall. The gilding of the Ascended, cracked to show the rot within.
Fair criticism of them.
Child of Ishtal, no one can hurt you now.
Yeah, because you killed them, dude.
All crumble in the wake of my calamity! Bless me, Sentinel, or perish.
Yeah, no, he seems nice, doesn't he? He seems like a fun guy, friendly fellow.
Bend to my will, you pebble. Disgusting. You herald your own demise. A false herald to a silent crowd. You are nothing but a glorified serpent. Lend me your primordial fury. Sovereign of dragons, I will break you.
Ooh, Bane.
Voidborn, I am the arbiter of your demise. Yeah.
I wonder if that is actually to the beat of Crab Rave.
Against me, you are nothing. Your impact on this world is but a grain of sand in a vast desert. Let me show you.
That's a slightly clunky line. Like, your impact on this world is but a grain of sand in a vast desert, let me show you. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. That's a little... You could workshop that, Skarner. You could make that a little snappier, right? Like your measure in this world is a grain of sand. Is a mote of sand in a mote of sand in the desert. Something to, like, make it snappier. Make it pull together a little bit more, right? Like, if you're encountering an enemy, like, you need to have a one-liner ready, boy.
You may request my counsel, but I do not have to accept. I will live an eternity. You an instant.
See, that's a good one-liner.
I am Skarner of Clan Opaline, progeny of Brood Mother Nishale, and I will be your undoing.
Names might be spelled differently, will be confirmed in special interactions. Fair enough. Okay, so that's a little bit of world building for Skarner, that, like, he's not this singular creature, right? Like, he's not a singular guardian deity of Ishtal. He is of a people, right? That there is a brood mother somewhere, that there's a clan, that there is a wider folk of whatever kind of scorpion he is, which have existed before, which makes me wonder, are they all as big as he is? Because like, where would you find the room? Where would you find enough food? Like, whoa, that is a lot. Like, that's big. So where did they used to be? How many have there ever been of them? And where were they? Were they everywhere? Like, were they once all across the Shuriman continent and then sort of dwindled down to only him in like, is he still the last of his kind, is basically what I'm asking.
Your corpse will be a warning to those who would defy me.
Again, he seems nice.
You are no threat to Ishtal now. This body lies before me as a sacrifice. You died in service to me.
Doesn't sound like Mordekaiser at all.
Defeat was inexorable. Life is violent, death is merciless. For generations, I have defended Ishtal. I will defend this land too. War is a weapon of the weak. I rupture the earth and bring devastation. I have seen the rise and fall of countless civilizations. This is but one moment among many. You want my protection. Prove yourself worthy, and it is yours.
So he is the last of his people, then.
Beyond the jungle lies a wasteland of pain and suffering.
Which, again, references... He believes that there's really nothing outside of Ishtal that is worth consideration, right? Like, outside of Ishtal, hellscape, whatever. Don't care. Doesn't matter. Only Ishtal is worth preserving or caring about.
How I've missed the songs of nature. I lead not through fear, but through wisdom and respect.
My guy, my dude, my baby boy, my friendly face. We've just listened to 6 minutes worth of voice lines of you just like, I bring devastation and destruction. Melio, you poor innocent child, you are the flame of treachery. I shall snuff you. It's like, yeah, oh yeah, sure. Not through fear, definitely. Yeah, cool. Tell yourself that.
Not all Yuntal can be trusted. I will silence any who plot against me, against Ishtal.
And here he draws a very specific equivocation, right? Like, he draws a parallel that, like, a plot against him is a plot against Ishtal because he sees himself in some way as being Ishtal. Like, he is the guardian, the foundation, the leader, the center of this thing, Ishtal, right? Like, so if you plot against Ishtal, you plot against him. If you plot against him, you plot against Ishtal. There's no distinction between the two. Which, again, is the mindset of Tyrant.
I live beneath the earth, where I hear everything above. There I listen and wait. Mortality breeds fear. Fear decays into destruction, an endless cycle, an infinite curse.
Which is an interesting little bit of contempt for mortals. Sort of like he's claiming that the very nature of being mortal means that you're going to be afraid, and that means you're going to you're going to destroy shit. You cannot be trusted to build anything that lasts. Which again, like, sort of explains why he thinks himself so above everyone else he talks to, is because he is apparently immortal.
My adornments are tributes from my people, a sign of their deference and love.
Would have been nice, again, just saying, would have been nice if he'd had, like, more of them, and they were a bit brighter, and they showed up better on his character model.
I sacrificed everything for Ishtal, and in return, Ishtal has given me its trust.
And also they're terrified of you because you're a mountain-sized scorpion that crushes everything that you consider a threat. That's also a thing. But he sacrificed everything for Ishtal, which sort of seems to imply that part of how Ishtal has remained protected is Skarner's people sacrificed themselves to erect whatever barriers it is that protect the place. That would be my assumption anyway, that like this is why he's the last one left, and this is why he feels such an ownership over the region, is because he, like, his people, everyone he's ever known and loved, sacrificed themselves to protect this place, so obviously he has, like, some feelings of ownership over it.
I feel movements in the vibration of the earth. Like threads, they are plucked and thrum. Mortals squander their short lives, slaughtering all they can for a modicum of power. I yearn for the days when Ishtal line the streets to see me, adore me, love me.
That's a healthy mindset to have.
Mortals are so precious. Like young bracketlings, they must be protected until they can safely leave their brood mother's back. Life is a desperate struggle to carve meaning from a brief existence.
Oh, he's so cheerful.
I have wandered too far from home. I hear the cries of my people. Get back! I rise from the earth. I am the end and the beginning. I will repay them in kind. They will not live to repeat their mistake. I am ancient. I am eternal. Then the earth. I will bury you.
I will bury you.
Torn asunder! I am your ruin! Drown!
If it's all just...
Venom!
Huh, interesting. If it's all just ability callouts from here.
You are powerless! Ishtal's enemies, my enemies, will tremble at my name.
Again, definitely a good guy mindset.
To protect what is mine, I will tear this land to shreds.
Again, ownership, right? Protect what is mine. Ishtal is mine, right? Like, he owns this place, and he owns everyone who lives inside of it. That sort of seems to be the mindset underneath. Like, underneath his genuine desire to protect Ishtal, like, his genuine, like I want to protect this place, I want to keep it safe, and, like, the outside world is a threat. Underneath that, there's this profound sense of entitlement and ownership to, well, anyone who happens to live within the lands that he considers his.
I am no mindless beast. The threads of movement thrum beneath me. I left my brood many millennia ago. Only I am willing to do what is necessary.
That there, again, is the classic mindset of a tyrant or a dictator, right? Like, it's a classic form of rhetoric of what justifies me having all of the power and, like, the right to kill and destroy and dispose of people's lives as I please. Well, it's because it is necessary to do, and I am the only person who recognizes that it's necessary. Swain has much the same justification for why he does what he does. It's like, well, I have this secret demon who lives in my hand, and it tells me secrets, and then I sort of figure out, aha, if like, everything I do is justified because I am doing it to avert some unspecified greater evil, right? He will not let anyone in on what those secrets are, or what that greater evil that he sees coming is exactly, and it's not entirely clear that the demon isn't just fucking lying to him or manipulating him. Swain believes he has won over Raum. He's defeated his demon and subjugated it, but, you know, it's a demon, and classically, making a deal with a demon of any kind doesn't usually go well for the person making the deal. And Swain has much the same rhetoric sort of embedded in his story. It's like, I will do what's necessary, therefore, you know, therefore, I am the one who needs to be in charge.
To walk among people, I have missed this. This world is blinded by wrath and ruin.
Every accusation is a confession.
I may have faded into legend, but I am no mere story. I am the first Yuntal, and I will be the last. I am the last bastion of Ishtal. Whispers of rebellion swell into screams. I am listening.
Is that why he's reemerged, though? Like, is it specifically because the Yuntal have sort of, the people of Ishtal have sort of started to realize, hey, there is a world outside of the walls of Ishtal, and it's not just a blasted, void, apocalyptic wasteland, and, like, maybe those people have something that's worth listening to. Maybe there's a point to seeing something outside of the borders. Like, that sort of seems to be a subplot of Ishtal as a region. And I guess maybe Skarner has awoken and returned because he's like, what do you mean you want to go outside? No, stay indoors. Like, where I can control you.
I am always
and
listening.
Protect you, as he would put it, but it is control.
Peace is a fragile thing. I carry my brood mother's name with pride.
It should also be pointed out that Ishtal is a dictatorship. It's a caste system dictatorship where some people are just, like, born to have more power than others, and some people are just born to live essentially the lives of disempowered slaves, which is bad. Not to get on my moral high horse or anything, but that's bad.
It is through my sovereignty that Ishtal continues to survive.
There again, like, I am the only linchpin of
mortals
Ishtal.
are paid with the blood of their progeny. I will be the last one standing. I have seen the worst this world has to offer.
Yeah, 3,000 years ago, buddy. Like, maybe some things have changed since then, Captain Immortal.
I know what danger stirs beyond Ishtal's borders.
Do you?
Ikathia, Shurima, civilizations fall while I endure. Nature fights because it must. I will silence your appetite. Your death will be my blessing. Life bows to my command.
Let's see. Is it all just attack callouts from now on? No, it's also a death. Let's see what his death quotes are.
I will keep them safe. I must. No, I cannot die. I am eternal.
And again, Skarner genuinely believes, right? Like, he genuinely believes what he says, that, like, he's doing it to protect Ishtal, right? Like, this is all for the protection of... Like, he has ideals that he's clinging to. What I'm pointing out is that you can cling to genuinely held ideals. You can have, like, genuinely good intentions in your heart and still be a tyrant and a bad guy. Like, that's just a thing that happens sometimes, and that seems to be the characterization that they're going with. I don't know that I'm super impressed with his voice lines as a thing, like the performance. Like, and this is nothing against the voice actor. The voice actor is giving the performance that they were asked to give, but it is a thing of, like, I feel like I've heard this exact character before, in other places, like this like sort of dull where it's like, I will do what I must to protect, blah, 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 blah. And like with those kinds of voice filters and stuff, it feels very familiar. It doesn't really feel super unique, and it didn't feel like it had a lot of personality beyond the surface traits, right? Like where Swain has, like, he's a like, comparing him to Swain again, he's a military dictator. He's like an emperor, essentially. He's sort of Caesar type. But Swain also has, like, that sardonic streak to him, like that sort of subdued, quiet sarcasm that he's got going on that makes him personable, right? Like, that gives him a little bit more of an interesting personality. Same thing with Azir, like, especially in Legends of Runeterra. Like, Azir he's imperious, he is like, I am the Emperor of Shurima, go forth and spread the word of my coming, blah, blah, blah. But also he has, like, a little bit of sort of sardonic humor. He has some great interactions with, like, Talia and Sivir, where he's sort of, he reveals different parts of his personality, right? And that's, like, the really good voice performances is one, like, where you have the surface personality, like the main personality thing that they do, but then interactions, there are little bits and parts of them where they reveal something new, something else about themselves. I felt like that was kind of missing here. It felt like he was sort of doing the same thing the whole time, basically. I didn't really get a sense of him having any personality beyond that which was on the surface, which is like, I am the protector of Ishtal, and I blah, 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 rah, rah. I protect this place, and I am the sovereign, and I protect it, and I rule over it because I am the protector who protects it from the thing that... Like, that sort of seemed to be his only beat, and he kept hitting it over and over again. I was hoping for a little bit more. And, like, they could have at least given him a voice line with Seraphine, right? Like, what is that infernal racket, or, like, silence, or whatever. Like, make him really hate Seraphine's music because Seraphine is like this paragon of empathy, right? Like, she's a person who can force people to see, like, who can, like, well, not force, but, like, who can cause people to feel empathy and connection with each other, all of which is something that will be very dangerous to Skarner, because if the people of Ishtal start to feel connection and empathy for the people of Piltover and Zon, well, all of a sudden it's a lot harder to maintain as isolationism. So, like, it would be funny if he had a voice line that was like, what is that infernal racket? Like, if Seraphine's songs of unity and togetherness really annoyed him. That would also be a good nod to, like, the mimetic connection between the two characters, like the oopsie-doopsie fuck-up that the writers made when they created Seraphine's voice lines. I miss your people too, Skarner. Would you like to hear their song? Jesus Christ. Like, I still don't understand how nobody internally sort of called out, hey, that could come across the wrong way. Like, that could come across as, like, really fucking cruel, actually. Maybe we shouldn't make her say that. Oh, Lord. But, yeah, it's fine. Like, it's okay. Like, the personality is clear. The personality type is clear. I don't know how much I like this as Skarner's new concept. Again, I'm missing the twist. I'm missing the extra thing that makes it compelling, right? Like, rather than, because this is very much an archetype. He's very, very much an archetype right now, and he doesn't really seem to be playing any notes outside of the archetype. He just seems to be very much, this is the archetype that I am, and I'm going to play it completely straight with no anything else on it. And that's a little, like, League of Legends tends to be at its best when it has a really clear archetype and then it has some kind of twist on it, some kind of something that puts it, like, that makes it more than just the sum of its parts. This Skarner seems to be very much the sum of his parts, at least so far. Well, I mean, we'll see. Like, maybe they'll publish some great stories with him. Not crossing my fingers or holding my breath for that, but you know, maybe they will. That would be nice. Anyway, let's hear if Battlecast Alpha Skarner has a little bit more personality to offer.
Has my creator lost faith in me? Caitlin, your intellect will make a worthy addition to our collective. Leader of the Organics opposes the Alpha. I shall test your will, Ilawi. Sensing grief and regret, chase. Why run from our truth? The resistance is our hope. Survival is a delusion. The outcome of betrayal, destruction. My vision exceeds yours, Creator. We are free from your inferiority.
Okay, so in the Battlecast universe, that's essentially a sort of alternate apocalyptic future timeline where Victor and his glorious evolution has run rampant, and he has created these enormous death machines that are hell-bent on wiping out all forms of organic life because it is inferior. So I guess it's like Skarner is one of his, like, early first creations. That's why he's the Battlecast Alpha. Like, he's like the prototype, the proof of concept. And so I guess it makes sense, like, that Victor would be destroyed by his own creation because he too has, like, organic inferiority inside of him. And there's some hints here of, like, they have a hive mind, a kind of sort of collective consciousness kind of thing that they've got going on, which sort of makes it all kind of Vel'Koz themed, which I guess makes it appropriate that he's hanging out in the background here.
Caitlin, even your mind failed to detect my creator's plans. This was the only possible outcome, Ilawi. Your spirit will serve us well. My creator values your sacrifice, Jace. Your screams were soothing. Extermination is the only path to evolution. Humans and their failed experiments. Pitiful construction. Error detecting salvageable materials. I am composed of 50% protect and 50% attack. Particles just speak without processing. Odd. How frail. Like an organic modeled with glass bones and paper skin. Why did my creator withhold these modifications? When components would best break a stubborn organic. I may be perfect, but I'll never turn down an upgrade. Track their position. Activating radar. Surveillance deployed. Our capabilities appear compatible. Finally, a useful host. Ally, express your appreciation. Abomination, I will read your essence.
I'm sort of looking through them in this scroll bar right now. Calculating ally value, minimal, modifying expectations.
The other constructs know nothing but mindless destruction. It is my duty to show them the way.
There's a little bit of personality. I was looking for, like, whether Battlecast Alpha Skarner would have any kind of, again, any kind of twist on the formula, and there's not much so far. It mostly seems like he's a Terminator, he's a killer bot. He, like, destroy all organics. I am a robot. Robot, you're superior. Like, very Cybermen from Doctor Who sort of vibe, or indeed the Daleks. But this at least sort of implies that he has some kind of personality, some kind of protective instinct towards his fellow murder bots underneath it all.
Engaging TIE protocol. Detect. Interrogate. The only thing louder than these worthless memories. Their screams.
Okay, so he... okay.
I was designed to be a tool. Only I can rewrite my software. These voices, my memories. Why won't they stop?
Which is the thing, is like, I don't 100% remember how they conceptualized it in the Battlecast universe. Whether the Battlecasts were, converted from, like, living creatures in some way. Which sort of seems to be the implication of, like, this thing that's Battlecast Alpha Skarner has some memories poking about in his consciousness that are tormenting him in some way. Or if they were just, like, fully created by Victor. But I guess Skarner specifically has some ghosts poking about his machine.
If humans merely embrace my salvation, they'd have nothing to fear. These specimens are effective. A good leader will repair the damage. Fragments of my humanity cling to this construct, but that feeble body was abandoned long ago.
Okay, so they were converted from living creatures. Like, he's the first, right? Like, he was converted from some kind of living creature into a murder robot to deliver glorious evolution to an ungrateful world, I guess.
My creator built me before all others. I thank him, and I hate him.
Ooh, classic hate machine.
Prototype, now the Alpha. A title I will never take lightly.
Let's see, is there anything else? Really? What are you, a Pokemon? So he's driven to kill in part because that's the only thing that shuts up the human part of him. Yeah, not much interesting in Battlecast Skarner. Like, again, it's doing what it's supposed to. Like, it's doing what it's supposed to within the confines of the universe that it's attached to. But again, not really much of anything beyond that. It's doing exactly what it needs to do, and not really much of anything more. Which, I mean, fair enough, I suppose. I was just kind of hoping for a little bit more. But hey, like, interesting that he has, like, we have this ghost in the machine thing with like, memories of humanity spooking about in his head. That could be the basis of a story about him if Riot ever wanted to tell one, but they've shown no interest, really, in telling stories in the Battlecast universe, so, again, I wouldn't hold my breath. But anyway, that's the Skarner voice lines. Yeah. Yeah, not excited by any of this, unfortunately. I kind of wish there was... Much like with his character design, I wish they would have gone harder. I wish they would have, like, done more than they did. Especially with how long this fucking update took. Like, how long it took them to make the new Skarner. It was like, I was kind of hoping there'd be more. But I mean, who knows how troubled the production process was. They might have started over half a dozen times because the direction they were going didn't work. Who knows? Who knows how it works out? I just, yeah. It's not bad. Nothing that's here is, like, bad. It's just not really pushing any envelopes. At least not to my mind. Anyway, bye.